Hey y'all, it's Healer AUSET. I am here with holistic soul healing, holistic community healing, holistic education healing, holistic just come get your mind right healing. I'm gonna see you every single week right here on our network. Not just for the people, we are the people. Hey, it is Healer AUSET, Dr. AUSET, Mama AUSET, whatever you want to call me, just call me AUSET. Welcome to Healer AUSET show, where we are on holistic soul healing on our network, not just for the people, we are the people. Make sure before we even start this part 2, like, share, follow, do it again, and do it again. We need to make sure that you are up to date with all of the wonderful shows on the network, as well as you know when to come and tune in to me. But I am not on this network by myself. It is a whole slew of amazing content. So make sure that you are supporting. And more than anything, we are Black owned, for us, by us. And we want to make sure that you have the content that matters. So welcome to our network, not just for the people, we are the people. And you are on the Healer AUSET show. And I am excited for my first guest. This is season 2. So this part 2 of this show, I'm going to try really hard not to cry because Samia does her thing on my makeup every single show. So I have to make sure I don't mess up. However, the first show opening the second season for my show is Black Motherhood. And my first guest is my youngest child, Saya.
Hey.
So I am excited to have my baby on the show.
Excited to be here.
Thank you. He is also about to turn 18. So when I say
6
baby,
days.
in 6 days, and in 6 days is crazy. 6 days, 18 years ago, I was overdue and upset because I was tired of being pregnant. And I was.
You'll be okay.
So I'm excited to have my baby here. I have 3 wonderful children, 22, 20, and 18 in 6 days. And we're going to talk about Black motherhood. A lot of times I get asked, how did I raise such wonderful children? What were the techniques? What were the methods? And a lot of times the answer is, I don't know. I don't know how I did it. I don't know. When you think about, especially when you are a single mother, you don't realize, I don't know how I paid rent all them years. I don't know how I made sure they ate. I don't know, because I was just so focused. We talked about this in part 1. Black mothers just make it happen, right? So I was just making it happen. And I think it's best to hear it from my children. Like, what was it? And also, I'm going to encourage every Black mother, go have this conversation with your children as they are growing up and they are in your empty nesting. Have the conversation of, what was it like to be my child, right? Like, what was Black motherhood to you? So we're going to do it. I'm going to show y'all how to have these very healthy conversations with your children and allow them to tell their truth. Even when Josiah is probably, of all of my children, the one that's going to say it the most direct. So you might hear me, you might see me like, what you just say? You might hear all of that in this conversation, but I really want to display how healthy you can have a conversation with your children, still allowing them to be their full selves, still allowing yourself to be the mother. And Josiah I think our relationship exudes that. All 3 of my children.
Absolutely.
All 3 of my children. But I'm going to go ahead. So tell me what Black motherhood means to you.
Black motherhood for me is the definition of love, safety, and protection. I can't say that there's been like one Black woman in my life that I look at as a mother that I can't trust, that I felt betrayed by, that I felt wouldn't make something happen for me, my first thought is to always trust any woman that comes into my space, but especially Black women. And majority of the women that are in my space came from my mom. So I know, like, they wouldn't steer me wrong.
You've been blessed to have a village of mother figures. Even outside of me, and let me say this too, Black mamas, it is all right to let other folks mother your children. Sometimes Josiah is, of all of my children, Josiah does this the most. He knows which mama to call. He does this the most. Like, he knows, like, let me call Nani. Let me call Mama Lesh. Let me call, right? Because sometimes, and he also, I think, just being the youngest, he got to see what works, what doesn't work the best. But I have a particular temperament. So he knows what not to tell me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows what not to tell me. He knows when it's time to tell me. And so just talk about, like, the importance of your village Black motherhood that you have had.
For me, it was always an outlet. There was certain things, like my mom did say, that I knew the timing of what I would tell her wouldn't be correct. So, but I'm the type of person where I need to let it out in that moment. So I can, all the relationships that I do have and have built, I know that I can go and rely on them. Heavily, it's with my godmother, Mama Lesh. I tell her absolutely everything. Like, the moment something happens, I call her. And my aunt. Those are the two people that, like, and I, like, run things down with them first before I tell my mom so that I know that there's a sweeter version to tell my mom. But also, like, my best friend's mother, she definitely stepped in and became, like, a big maternal figure for me, especially in moments where I genuinely needed it. Like, she was there without a doubt. Like, the first time I met her, she immediately called me her son. Mm-hmm. And that was very... Sorry.
Oh.
That made me feel welcomed. It made me feel extremely loved. It made me feel like, okay, even in these moments where I feel alone, I'm not alone. Mm-hmm. And when I do need to let it out, when I do need to express it to somebody, I know I have, and it's a mix of wonderful women in my life. Like, it's not just them three. It's a mix of them. Like, one of my other aunties, Mama Ty, just started telling her everything. Like, I just, building connection and having connections with these beautiful Black women in my life has been such an important thing for me. And sometimes I just talk to them when I know I can't talk to my mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think one of the things that I hope this conversation helps Black mothers understand is that we don't have to be everything to our children when we truly have good sisterhood. My sister, who he has affectionately called Nani, my oldest son named her Nani. She's actually my little sister, my baby sister. She hates when I say that, but my baby sister. I couldn't have raised my children without my sister. And there are these moments of she gets them more than I do. Saya is very honest in saying, like, I know when to tell my mom because I'm a Leo. So as soon as if you come to, I'm going to try to fix it or I'm going to try to fight it. Like, right? It's either burning it down or building it up because of the fire.
And I'm a Libra and I like patience and time for stuff to progress, not an immediate fix, which is one of the traits that I do love about my mom is that she does go to straight, like, immediate fixes. But sometimes that's not always beneficial, especially to her. Like, especially to her. I've seen countless moments where she made sure that she struggled so that we didn't have to. And I don't think that they realize, like, even when I was younger, I noticed this. I always noticed it. I just was 8. Like, how do you say that when you're 8? Oh, mommy's doing this. Like, I just didn't know how to say it. But now that wow, that was a decade ago. Wow. But now that I'm 18, like, and I can have these open and honest conversations with my mom, I've told her countless times, like, you don't need to be the immediate fix. Like, you don't always have to try to fix something. Try to see how it progresses naturally. But she won't listen.
And that's right. That's the balance of like recognizing what I said in part 1 of like allowing your children to show up so that you can parent them the way that they need to be parented versus like, I'm going to take this method of parenting.
Yeah.
There's been moments of Josiah's, of all of my children's lives where they did need gentle parenting, but there's also been moments when I, yank you up real quick because I need you to understand the urgency of what I want your character development to be. So let's talk about that. Like, what was it like to have Mama AUSET as your mom? I think community gets to see Mama AUSET in a particular way, but the three of you, 24/7, right? That's a whole different, totally different experience. So what was it like to have Mama AUSET as your mother?
My mom definitely has the most beautiful soul that I've ever met. She'll make sure that somebody else has it before she does. Example with her children, but she doesn't just do it with her children. She does it with community. She does it with anybody that she can do it with, anybody that's valuable in her life to do it with. And she finds value in everybody. So that don't make it no better. Like, she be stressing herself out. And she would have just met you and she'll stress herself out trying to make sure that you're good before she makes sure that she's good. And don't get me wrong, my mom is not perfect in any way, shape, or form. As infuriating as she can be, I will never trade her for the world. Like, I will never ask for it. I've had so many heated arguments with my mom, but I've never been like, I don't want her to be my mom. I know my mom. Like, I know we're just both we have strong minds, strong heads, and when we bump, but I will never, like, those are even moments to me that, like, growing older that I'm starting to cherish, because it also taught me how to look at my mom as not my mom, but as AUSET, not as this role that was given to me 18 years ago as a human being. And looking at her as a human being actually changed perspective for me a lot. Like, a lot. It made me actually appreciate, love, and value her 10 times more than I already did, just solely off of her being my mother. So I wouldn't trade her for the world. I love when good things happen to her because she's the most deserving person that I know. She's also just my favorite person ever. This year definitely brought us a lot closer. It had to bring us a lot closer. But in us two getting close, we both were getting closer with God. Mm-hmm. And that was such a beautiful, like, thing to look back on and reflect. Like, okay, we've got to where we needed to be. Now we're getting to where we need to be with God. Mm-hmm. So that's just been a beautiful process in itself.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Josiah is for mothers out there, you understand, your youngest has a special the unique thing about the sequence of my children is my oldest, so he has this special place. My daughter is my daughter, she's my only, so she has this special place, and my baby is my baby, right? So like, he has this special place. So everyone has this very unique relationship with me that's very different. Even in and we'll talk about this eventually, but I just came back from Nigeria getting initiated into Ifa. Josiah has been on that journey with me. Like, he has been the one who was like, let's consider what Ifa means. Like, what is this to our ancestry, and like connecting and realizing, and his interest kind of catapulted me to say, yeah, let me dive into this. This has been in my life for 20 years. Like, let me go ahead and take this step, because if and when he is led to Ifa, like, I want to be able to be the one to hold his hand through it, right? Even VPAC, we were talking about this on the drive here. VPAC, once upon a time, the narrative was, I'm creating the school my son needed, because the DSA in Colorado would not be the best place for my very creative Denzel Washington child, right? And so I was creating this school genuinely for my child, and that's a beautiful, like, progression of how to usher into transitioning from I'm this hovering mom. And for sure, like I know my oldest two children. Like, you're so easy on Josiah. Like, if I would have done this, you would have punched me in my mouth. You know, like they're so extra with it. But the reality is that Josiah, as the youngest, I've been able to see my own maturation as a woman, as a mother, as all of these things. So he is benefiting the most. He is benefiting in me saying, you know what, I trust you. Like, if that's the direction you want to go, versus if all of my other two children, when they were 17, oh no, I was hovering over them. Versus Josiah has this freedom to, like, let's talk about what is EFA. Let's talk about what are the explorations that you're thinking about for your career? What are you thinking about? Do you want to go to college? Do you want, right? Like, it's a whole different approach. And it's because my children show up needing different approaches. And I couldn't have the same approach with my oldest. My boy, it's always my boys versus my daughter. So my boys have to have different approaches. My daughter absolutely has to have a different approach. What was it like to be in siblings with Jalil and Jaye with Mama AUSET in the house?
My siblings. I love them beyond words. Like, I can't even describe, like, how much I've needed them, regardless of how much that they know it. I done been through so much, and just even hearing my sister's voice, seeing my brother call me just to tell me stupid stuff. It's just like, it makes me feel good. I will also say, growing up, the three of us, we're still to this day, we're pretty tight. We're pretty close. But also, the three of us have never been as far apart as we are now. My sister goes to Morgan State. My brother goes to Grambling. I'm in Atlanta. It's three different, like, we don't know. I would say it's been 3 or 4 years of this, and we still don't even know how to manage it. Like, it's weird not seeing my siblings versus every day for 16 years, I've seen both of these faces, and now for the last 2 or 3, I haven't. Like, it's just, it throws us off, but I know for sure that we will always be a unit. No matter how much we irk each other or get on each other's nerves, like, we'll always be a unit, and we'll always be that unit for our mom. I think she gave us skills that even if we're all on each other's nerves, still reach out, still, hey, are you okay? Hey, just checking on you. Hey, if we even go too long without talking to each other, somebody's going to call that group chat. Somebody's going to call it, and what are y'all doing? Like, what have y'all been up to? And we'll have, like, hour-long conversations, and we'll just get full from talking to each other. Growing up, it was very much like I could see what my mom is saying. Like, it was 3 different approaches because it's 3 different human beings. And I will say, like, I did reap the benefits of it, but it's not my fault. I was born in 2006. My bad. But I will say, like, it was actually fun to have my siblings. Like, me and my siblings, we just, I don't know, I just love them. Like, we just be doing stuff, and it's fun to always have, like, that reminder of, okay, maybe I need to be humbled a little bit. Let me call my sister, because my sister gonna put me in check before my mom does. So let me call my sister, get her opinion on something, see if I'm tripping. If I'm tripping, I'm tripping. Let me call my brother just to talk, or just to let him talk. And that's very much how the 3 of us still are. Like, if any of us need each other, we still call each other.
Yeah. I love that y'all have y'all's relation. I think this is another thing, teaching moment, Black mothers. Let your children talk about you to each other and get out the way of it. All right? Like, it's nothing. And at this point, my children are developing into this, like, my oldest son is the spokesperson for what the consensus of all 3 of them are. And, you know, I could challenge, like, okay, so you let me know y'all was just sitting on the phone talking mess about my decision making, right? Let them do that, because it creates this village. It creates another layer of trust. and don't engage in it. Like, I don't get in the way of what my sons talk about. When Leo calls Saya and Saya's like, I'm about to go upstairs because I'm going to talk to my brother. Cool. Right? Like, it's not, or I got to call, or Leo's, let me call Jaye. Let me see what Jaye going to say.
Something I can agree to. Like, you were never overbearing when it came to our relationships. Like, it never felt like, oh, we're siblings. We have to be like, love each other. Like, we have to be constant with each other. It was like, it was instilled in us, but we were the ones that decided to carry it out. And yeah, anytime my mom gets on my nerves, let me call my sister. Let me call my brother. Let me call the group chat. See if I'm tripping. And when it's 3 different perspectives, it also opens your mind up to other possibilities that it could have been. There was a recent situation where I had to call my brother and my sister. And I was like, am I tripping? Nah, you're not tripping. Okay, cool. Talk to my mom about it. Am I tripping? Yes, you are. And let me tell you why you are. Okay.
And the other part is like, outside. So this is my next question. Outside of even your blood siblings, what was it like to grow up with Mama AUSET? Because I am so village. I am so, I don't consider my niece my nieces. Like, these are my daughters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, these are our VPAC students, especially because I know there's still VPAC students who lean on you as being their brother. Like, what was that like to grow up with a mother who's so village oriented, who's so community oriented, that anybody who's coming into this village is now access to you?
To be totally honest, at first I hated it. Like, because I have a problem with giving people titles based off of somebody else. And at first that's how it felt. Like, oh, because that's how my mom looks at you. Now I have to look at you like that. And I have these set rules and expectations for you to follow, but you can't really follow them. So I will say at first it was very infuriating to just have to constantly, new people are coming in my life constantly and I have to keep dealing with it. Like, it's like, I don't even know your last name. Like, I don't know your birthday. What am I doing here? Especially like,
but you my village though.
But when it comes to like events, like, why are we at an event for people I don't know? And we have to be there for hours on end. But I will say now it got to a point where when I built my own relationships with all of the people that she was bringing in my life, they all brought value to me. I don't think there's one person who, village-wise, that my mom has brought to me that I don't still keep in contact to this day. And again, like I said, sometimes it is still very annoying. Like, who is this person who's known me since I was 2 and I haven't seen since I was 4? Like, what are we doing? But it is still like a humble reminder. Like, even in moments where you think and or feel alone, you're not. There's a whole like village of people backing you. And if you need to lean on them, lean on them. And also with the VPAC students who do lean on me, I grew so in love with the fact that they lean on me that I started to call them my little sisters, my little brothers. Like, my little cousin, I don't call her my little cousin, I call her my little sister. Because I grew up with her. Like, every step and or decision that I've ever made, she was a part of. So I will never say like, oh, that's my little cousin. Because to me, that's just like, I feel like I'm pushing you away. You're my little sister and you've been my little sister. Especially when it comes to village. Like, I just am easily to say, you're my little sister until not proving my little sister. But nobody can prove it.
Yeah, so I think this is just a fun question to answer. And if you're in my life and you experience the Leo fire, it's always a regular question. But I'm just going to ask you, is Mama AUSET crazy?
Textbook definition crazy, or I would say no. I genuinely would say no, because I think that she just knows what's best, especially when it came to us 3. Like, she knew, but she also didn't get in the way of our decisions. Even if she didn't agree with it, she didn't too much get in the way of it. But when she was right, she was right. And we would have to go back to her and be like, you were right. You were right. But I want to say that, would I say that you're crazy? No, because I feel like crazy is constant. Have you had crazy moments?
Okay, I can take that. I'll take that one. I'll take crazy is constant. I've had crazy moments.
A lot of them.
I'll take that. Because listen, when it comes to my children, especially my village, the people that I love, the people that I support, you bring harm, you do whatever. And I guess it's like, what do you define as crazy too, right? Because is it crazy to be like, you just cussed my sister out and stole some money? You think I'm not supposed to respond? And
it's really from a place of protection. Mm-hmm. Like, that's really why I say it's not crazy. It's just crazy moments where it's like, oh, okay, all right. But it's never been like anything where I just like constantly was like, oh, my mom is off. Like, something's wrong with her. Like, it's never been that. It has been in those moments like,
she don't understand. But you know what? And let me say this too. I'm glad you said that, because that's true. I am a Leo, so there is this level of protection that comes up in just who I am. One of the things that I have had to adjust to are my children protecting me. Like, I've had to learn Leo saying, "Stop, Mom," or the two of y'all saying, "You don't have to be Superwoman. I don't need you to do this for me, Mom." Or Jaye saying like, "Ma, chill out. Like, I'll figure it out. I don't need you." And so like protecting, or even particularly my boys saying, that person's not good for you. They're not giving you the love that you're giving them. Right. So like learning protection from y'all has been, and I feel like that's one of my mothering lessons, is to learn how to, specifically with my boys, because my boys don't play about me. My girl, my daughter, now, you weren't crazy. It's really my daughter about her mama. Like,
don't do my sister.
She don't care about that.
Don't care.
She don't care about that. Like, I've never experienced the tension of mother-daughter relationships that I've heard of. My daughter is my ace. My boys protect me like crazy. So learning how to like hear you say, "No, Ma, that's not it," and receiving it as a protector.
That's also the difference that I think that you made for us. Like, you weren't in constant competition with us. Because like, I know plenty of like, even my friends who like, even when they started getting jobs and stuff, it was just like parental figures just like went out the window. Like, you got your own money, figure it out. My mom was never like that. Like, I've had 2 jobs, and throughout each job, if I needed something from my mom, even if I didn't need it, she was going to provide it regardless. She never made me feel small. Mm-hmm. Like, she never boxed me in a corner and made me feel like, okay, I need to do this, and once I do this, I'm gonna impress her. It's never been like that. Like, I know my mom's unconditional love for me, and it's always been clearly stated for the 18 years that I've been living. It's never been like I've never felt, even in an argument with my mom, I've never felt like she loved me less. Mm-hmm. I honestly always felt like she loved me more, because I feel like in each like conflict that me and my mom have had, we've learned about each other more, which is why now we're at a point where we have so much patience for each other, because she knows I'm going to look at it like this until my emotions cool off. Then I'm going to look at it logistically. Her, I know she's going to look at it logic first and then do her emotions. So I feel like within all of that, you still did what you need to do as a mom.
Yeah, and I think what I hope this conversation does for Black mothers in particular is understands the space to give your children to be authentically who they are. I'm not looking for, right? And don't get it twisted. I think my boys are such the greatest example. My oldest was an athlete, my youngest was an artist. So having to like navigate these two worlds very differently. Then having to navigate, Josiah got out of the arts, Lil got out of sports, and then finding this equilibrium where I'm like, oh, here's y'all's constant as my boys.
Yeah.
Y'all's constant as my boys is I see so much of Jalil in Josiah. I see so much of Josiah influencing Patience and his big brother, right? Like I see so much of this like interchangeable space, but it was because I allowed them to be authentically who they were. It has never been this while I didn't compete with them, I also didn't create a space for them to compete with each other. No, y'all are going to collaborate and figure out each other's strengths and figure out each other's gifts, right? And utilize it for each other. And so Village was very important to me, and raising them has been my greatest joy. I think Josiah's turning 18 on the 18th.
Golden.
And to be like, I have my baby who is 18. I've been in this real reflective mode since October 1st. Like I've just been in this mode of like, gosh, did I give all of my children everything that I needed? Did I show up the best way? And when I didn't, did I take full accountability? Did I come back and apologize enough? Did I course correct? And one of the things that I feel is a gift of mothering is when your children do see you as a human, when they do see you as you're a woman before you were a mom. You fell in love with our fathers before you gave birth, right? Like there's these other parts of who you are that I didn't know. I remember when Jaye was turning 18, she said, I never thought about my mom being a child.
But that's a real feeling.
Right. And
that
like,
so
and then you're like, what do you mean you didn't think about it? And she's like, I just never thought of you as a child. Like, I only see you as mom. And so as she was entering adulthood, recognizing like, well, you're a full person. And so like to see my children seeing that. And Josiah, you know, I may have held on longer to be right because he's the baby. I may have done whatever or spoiled him a little more or let him get away with a little more because he's the baby. But to know, like, I feel like I have raised the dopest 22-year-old, the dopest 20-year-old, the dopest 18-year-old in the universe ever. And now the transition is, okay, I'm just going to advise you. What do you want to know from me? If you don't want to know anything from me, what is your path? Tell me what you're curious about. Tell me what you're interested in and all of those things. So it's been a wonderful journey. Talk to me about what it's like to be raised by a healer who's always leading life with spirituality and energy, and you need to get your chakras right, and you need to go pray, go do what you need, some sage, right? Like what? Talk to me about what that was like, because that's different, right? It's different. It's witchy. Some people would say is too spiritual. Some people would say like, what is it like?
I would say it was very different because how my dad raised us versus how my mom raised us was two totally different things. Like still to this very second, it's two totally different things. There were times where it would be like, this is overbearing, but it's just because my mom was doing it when we were 8. Like I was a child, I was growing up in it, and it was like, of course, like as you're growing up and, you know, you're going through middle school and all that, you just get rebellious. You like, I don't want to do all this. Like, why am I doing all this? But it took actually all 4 of my high school years to realize, like, she was right. Like, in everything that she does, she was right. Like, especially when it came to the spiritual aspect, especially when it came to the oh yeah, you need to go pray. Like, something's off. Like, you need to go get yourself together. Like, she was always correct about it. I will say it was also very humbling to get told, like, something's wrong with you, and you don't even think something's wrong with you, and then you reflect and you be like, oh, something was wrong with me. Like, I actually was feeling like this, or I was acting like this because of this, or because I felt like it. And my mom kind of always course correcting that before it got too late. And also still being like, okay, now go pray. Okay, now let me sage you so we get the energy off you. Okay, go do this, and that. Wash your body with a specific soap. It was still like, okay, even though regardless of, she still always taught us God. Like, it wasn't even just like spirituality or tied us down to a book or anything. It was always, y'all can do this, but remember, God is always in this. Y'all could venture off and do whatever you want. God is still in it, though. And for me, that was very, like, such a beautiful thing. Looking back, like, regardless of what she taught us, she always taught us God. And she always taught us God within spirituality, which is why I love spirituality the way I do, because I look at it in God's view, in this is what I was supposed to do. I'm not supposed to be tied to anything. I'm supposed to be doing it through God's divine plan. And my mom always reminded us of that, especially, but she always did it through spirituality.
Yeah, I think what's really dope, I just was talking to, as y'all know, I'm a PK. My father is a pastor. My grandfather is Bishop Asen Phillips. My daddy is Pastor Aaron Phillips in Cleveland, Ohio. And so one of the things that's always been important to me in my mothering is that y'all found y'all's own relationship with God, and it wasn't me saying it. And, you know, we've been talking about this too. Josiah didn't see me Muslim. Josiah didn't see me as a Muslima. He didn't see me when I was hijabbed out and, like, you know, going to Juma every Friday and make it, like, he didn't experience that because that was Jalil and Jaye and their father. And you did eventually, but when it circled back around, it was still like, what, like, what's happening? And so I think it's important that it's so dope to see y'all finding y'all's way, to see y'all figuring out how God speaks to you. And it wasn't this huge influence of, all I said is that God is real. There's balance. There's some laws that you can't get away from. Make sure that you're honoring that, and make sure that you're praying, and make sure that you're fasting, and make sure, right? Like, all of those things. But the beauty has been, as I'm empty nesting y'all, to see y'all find y'all's own way. And it's not like because my mom said, like, it's because, like, y'all are genuinely developing your relationship with God. And which leads to, I do spiritual readings. So I never gave my children readings until they asked for it. So my daughter is most regular of the three of y'all. She gets her readings. She don't play about that. But yeah, like, I do readings, and this is why I respect spiritual integrity and boundaries. So I don't read y'all without y'all's permission. I don't read anybody without their permission. But allowing the space to be read gives you a firm foundation of, like, being clear about who you are and why God created you to, and what is the message, and what is the purpose, and what is your life's work, and all of those things. And so genuinely, like, loving all of those things. I also do LFD. Like, I also do that lymphatic frequency detox, so that you can clear out the way. You can clear out and say, like, I want to show up and something is stuck. I'm stuck in, I don't know how to forgive, or I'm stuck in, I don't know how to move past, or I don't know how to trust God. I don't know how to listen, right? Because these traumas have just piled up and impacted your physical being, and you don't even realize it, right? Like, it'll show up in your skin, it'll show up in your and digestive system and your respiratory system, right? And so needing those things. And I just love it. I love that my children, I was sharing with Damo. Y'all know, shout out Damo in our network. I was just sharing with Damo. My children know what I do, but they're not like in what I do. Jaye is the most. I guess Jalil is too, but Jaye is the most in what I do. So to have you as my first guest is like such an honor and such a privilege, because it should have been this, right? And this, let me be clear, this was not all the way planned out. Okay. This was spirit moving and saying, like, let Saya, he's in town for his birthday. Like, let him be your first guest. We had talked about last season, I'm going to start bringing people on. And it just worked. Like, it just worked where we were like, let's figure this out and let's let you do part 2. So I'm excited about that. Also, the healing part of being a mother to adults is being able to offer my services outside of just being y'all's mom. So in my second phase of life, I am preparing to be big mama. I'm preparing to do all of that. And shout out to my oldest son, because I'm not saying this to Jaye and Josiah, but to my oldest son, he's about to graduate college. Like, yeah, we need to be thinking about, what does life look like in the next 5 years? Am I going to be somebody's big mama? And if I am, let me do your couple session. Let me do your couple session and let me make sure that who you with is who you supposed to be with. Because that's not always the case. And I love my children enough that I will offer them their services and make sure that they are with who they are supposed to be with. But not just my children, the entire community. I do couple sessions because it's important. I am a product of an amazing mother. And really what I was doing was chasing how dope of a mother my mother was. So me being a great mother to them is only because I'm trying to live up to what I believe my mother was. And my mother is, still will always be the most dynamic mother that I know on the planet. When I say does anything, when I say shows up, when I say holds space, when I say, now she is crazy. I will say my mama crazy. Okay. Like, I have seen my mama don't even look at us crazy. And I am just a reflection of that. And so I came from good mothering. My mother came from good mothering. My grandmother, Grandjan, my namesake, she was the most, I have had just great, all of my aunts pour into me. Like, I could not be the woman that's who my village was. I have a village of women who poured into my mother because she was a teenage mom. So I had to have like all of these other arms of mothering that came in. And I'm appreciative of that. Gina, Janelle, Janine, Vicky, like there's so many women that showed up for me. And my mom gave the example of what it means to let others mother you and be in sisterhood. And this is what village is. And when a child is in need, then we figure it out. And my mom showed me that example. So, my children celebrating my motherhood is nothing short of a celebration and an indication of how dope my mother is. My sister, I could not have done this without Nani. I could not have done mothering without my baby sister right next to me and us figuring things out together. And we have for 22 years, like figuring out. Yeah. Before she was a mother, she was mothering to Jalil and Jaye and Josiah. So I'm just appreciative of what it means to be a Black mother. I'm thankful that my children value and appreciate me as a Black woman. I hope this conversation gave y'all some skills and some tools and some questions to ask your own children to have these real honest conversations. And also, my children, we are also very protective of each other. And so there's hard conversations that you can only imagine have been had. Josiah has shared, like, we have had moments where we weren't on the same page, where we were Like, I'm not feeling you, you not feeling me, right? And still getting to the place where he's on the couch with me, that he's ready to say, let's give the example of what it looks like to heal. Let's give the example of what it means to show up and be the best mother and the best son, right? So that you know. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Last, before I close out with Josiah, I am doing a retreat June 22nd through June 26th. We gonna go up in the mountains, y'all. You gonna unplug. You gonna get your 5 days of chakra healing. I'm gonna do some lymphatic frequency detoxes on you. We're gonna do some spiritual and energy readings. We got a whole chef, okay? A chef is coming to prepare our plant-based meals. We're gonna do yoga and mindfulness with Mama Ty. Josiah talked about Mama Ty. Ty's gonna come up and do this with me. And then we're gonna have 60 days post-op. Post-retreat. You gonna make sure that you are being held to the accountability, that you are showing up for yourself, and you are being who God designed you to be. I'm so I cannot say, of all of the things that I've been announcing, I am so excited about this retreat. Folks have been asking me to get back to retreats. I took about a 7-year hiatus from retreats, not because I don't love retreats, but because retreats take so much to do. And when you do them and you're doing them with a group of people or a panel of people who aren't as invested in the work as you are, I needed to recover. I was doing retreats all the time once upon a time, and I just needed 7 years to just kind of chill, get back to where I wanted to, and then me be the lead in actually organizing and getting it together. So I'm excited to do that June 22nd. Y'all want to get your seat, because I'm cutting it off at a particular number. You want to get your seat, because I cannot wait. So thank you.
Of course.
For being my first guest, for talking about Black motherhood, and for being such a great son. You are such a great son. You are such a great son. And I'm so blessed and so honored to call you mine. I'm proud of you. I cannot wait until you are in college doing what your brother and sister are doing. And let's graduate. Let's get through prom. Let's get through graduation. Let's do all of the things. And shout out Westlake High School.
Shout out Westlake High School.
Atlanta,
my
Georgia.
HBCU.
Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out Westlake High School. Y'all have been so good to my baby and so good to our family. Jaye graduated from there. Josiah will be graduating from there. And it is a mini HBCU.
It is.
It's a mini HBCU. So, but I'm so proud of you, Saya. Thank you for...
Proud of you.
Oh, I'm not messing in my makeup. All right, Damo, I think we're done. I love y'all. You are on our network, not just for the people. We are the people. Make sure you like, share, and follow. Continue to do so. You will see me. I am here. This is my home. This is my village. We're going to always be here. And it's not just me on this network. It's so many other dope content creators. It's so many dope people doing dope things in the neighborhood, doing dope things in the nation. Make sure you continue to support. But I am out of here. Shout out to Tuck. Shout out to Damo. Thank y'all for continuing to have me here. This is season 2 on HEALER AUSET, Holistic Soul Healing. We're going to keep on doing this healing work. But this season, it's about execution. What you going to do? I talked to y'all last season. Now what you going to do? Show up and get this healing work. I love y'all. Peace, peace, peace. Hey y'all, it's HEALER AUSET. I am here with holistic soul healing, holistic community healing, holistic education healing, holistic just come get your mind right healing. I'm going to see you every single week right here on our network. Not just for the people, we are the people.